Snap out. What, a hot over roll made you feel your pants?
We are live. Awesome. Welcome, folks, to the American Movie Podcast. This is your host, Mr. Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. So welcome. Today, we're going over a book review, and it is Tribe of Mentors. And it's written by Timothy Ferris. This book was all right. It was very, very similar to Tools of Titans. It was very, very similar. And Timothy in here, it's good. It is good. But it's very, very just slice and dice to the point. He has, I think it's like over 200 top performers. Some of them that I did not even know existed or who they were, and those were really interesting, actually. 11 questions, and I'm going to go and read the 11 questions that he goes through. I'm going to paraphrase, though. What are the books that you've given most as a gift, and why? Or are there one to three books that have influenced your life? What is a purchase of $100 or less that have positively impacted your life in the last 6 months? What is a favorite failure or apparent failure that led you up to later success? What is a giant billboard that you would put somewhere to influence people with some sort of motif or stuff like that? That I found pretty interesting. The $100 or less, some of that stuff, the $100 or less, a lot came up of the product Host Defense. That came up by Paul Stamets. I think it's a mushroom derivative. What is one of the most worthwhile investments? A lot of them say school, or I can't even remember a lot of them. Like they say most of their schooling was a lot of it, or like a traveling thing or stuff like that, or spending more time with family. What's an unusual habit? What in the last 5 years, a new belief, behavior has greatly improved your life? What advice would you give to a smart, driven college student? What are bad recommendations you hear in your profession or area of expertise? In the last 5 years, what have you become better at saying no to? That I found really just boring because it was like the same answer pretty much to everybody, or with everybody, or they didn't even put it in there. And then when you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, what else do you do? Okay, so there's meditation is just strung throughout all of this. Nearly, I would say 80% of the people have a morning ritual. So they have meditation and then walking as well. So there's a lot of top performers in here, and there's a lot of people that I did not suspect. Like there's Steve Aoki, Ben Stiller's in here, Jimmy Fallon's in here. Who else we got? We got Sam Harris is in here. Let me actually go to the table of contents and kind of like go through. Adam Robinson was a very interesting read. He was very, very interesting in there because he was, I believe he's just a top performer in chess. Who else we got? We got Steven Pinker was very, very interesting. Jocko Willink, he has a Jocko podcast. Yuval Noah Harari, and he has written Sapiens and Homo Deus. And I've read Homo Sapiens, and this dude was really, really smart. He's exceptional, man, and he meditates. I think it's 2 hours a day, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, how can you even do that? So yeah, there's a lot of meditation. Gary Vaynerchuk was in here. Ariana Huffington was in here. She spouted off about her book and sleep and the unnecessary importance of sleep. Maria Sharapova's in here. Tony Hawk was interesting. I didn't realize Tony Hawk had a $1.8 billion dynasty with his brand of video games, and it got declined multiple times, like similar to Tim's motif of editors or publishing companies. It was like 25 that dismissed his book, and then the last one said yes. It was similar to Tony Hawk's story. A lot of them declined it, and they wanted to kind of take over his brand, and he said, no, I want full reign over what goes into this video game. So, and now it's worth $1.8 billion, and I was just amazed at that. I did not realize how lucrative his brand was. Tim McGraw was in here. When I turned the page and I saw Tim McGraw, I was like, holy shit, here we go. But he actually redeemed himself. It was pretty, I was just like, oh, here we go. This is going to be horrible. But he did redeem himself. He spearfishes, which I found pretty interesting. So yeah, it's just like these little itty bitty 1-2 pages of each individual person. And there's 554 pages in this, and I enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of cool insights. You kind of get to see the idiosyncrasies of top performers, and that not a lot of people are perfect, and a lot of them have flaws, and they've just catered their day to enhancing their strengths and minimizing the costs of their weaknesses. So they've done that, and they kind of break open and explain that, and you kind of see that pattern just develop throughout the entire book. And then he also, it's 554 pages. He has a mentor index. He's got the top 25 episodes by probably downloads or guests just raving about him. The top 25 of Tim Ferriss's podcasts. Bear Grylls was in here. He was interesting. Let's see. Mr. Money Mustache. He had one of my favorite quotes in the book, actually. Mr. Money Mustache. If you do not know him, he retired at the age of 30 just by literally investing in index funds and minimizing the costs of his family's living. So he was like, what's the bare minimum without buying retail stuff of just boring, do I need a new pair of shoes? And he's just like, no. I was reading one of his things, and he even measured how much it cost per calorie per person of his family, and so he would just make sure that he spent under a certain amount of money inside of the grocery store per calorie. And I was like, dude, you're a freaking psycho. But he's living large, so it's just insane the degree in which somebody will do that to become wealthy. And this dude, he's put in a lot of work. Mr. Money Mustache. Let's see if I can find him in here. He had a great quote, though. If I don't find it, I'll just give you a summary of it. What else we got? Yeah, Tony Hawk, man. I just went by him. So we got, I'm going to paraphrase it if I don't find it in the next moment or two. Yeah, here we go. Now, this is the quote from Mr. Money Mustache. The key to a great life is simply having a bunch of great days. So you can think about it one day at a time. And that's like, it's very true. Just make sure you have a good day. Like, focus on the now. Focus on the next 8 hours or whatever you can take care of. And then it'll accumulate into a great life instead of just being like, when is this thing going to happen, and looking to the future a lot. So that was really interesting and really, really just simple. It was really, really simple. And yeah, he worked at various tech companies before retiring, at the age of 30. And he was spending only $27,000 a year and saving the rest and putting them into index funds. And now he reaches about 23 million people since its founding. So yeah, that's a crazy website, Mr. Money Mustache. So that was a cool one. I'll be looking into him more. There was something interesting in here too, that total immersion swimming that I might look into because I'm not a good swimmer whatsoever. So I'll definitely check that out. And I think it was like $50, and you get to figure out how to swim. Like, because I guess the idea is you immerse yourself under the water and you don't fight the water. You just kind of glide through the water, and you can do a lot more repetitions on back and forth pool links, I guess you'd say. So I definitely recommend this book. I mean, it gives you a lot of confidence in what you're doing as well. Here, Timothy Ferris, and gives you kind of just an insight and allows you to just push forward a little bit. And you're just like, oh, okay, so just keep going and figure things out along the way, as long as you're doing as much as you can while focusing on the task at hand and not like worrying about too much. And meditation. I've experienced meditation a lot. I don't have like a humongous practice with it, but I've done it. I've done it probably the last 2 years off and on. I don't like have a strict regimen when I do it though. So, I've done the flotation tanks. Those help a lot. That's a lot easier way to meditate. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book. It's short life advice from the best in the world, Tribe of Mentors. I'll link it in the description too if you want to check it out. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Matthew Benjamin with the American Movie Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. A lot of good stuff to come. And let me know what you thought about this book. If you've read it, or if you plan on getting it, or if you have any questions about it, just let me know. So thank you so much for watching. Bye, 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 bye.
I've been frozen for 30 years, okay? Throw me a frickin' bone here. Snap out.